Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, it's another week. And I wanted to remind you that it's a good day. And you're up and at 'em, I can see. You've had your coffee already, or in the mood of having coffee. And evidently, it's very, very cold in some parts of the world right now. And right now, it's 59 degrees right here in Arkansas this morning, and I got up this morning knowing who I was. Yes, that's always a good thing. And what day it is. And so I'm continuing to crochet this morning on the same piece I've been working on. It's just that I've been busy doing other things. And as that goes along with saying, my crocheting's taking a back seat. Now, I wonder where that expression came from. Oh, that's taking a back seat. I don't know where that would have come from. Not unless you're the last one to get out of the stagecoach or the train or the car or because you're going down the road and you've got lots of stops and you have to put one person in if you ever carpooled, you always put the first person's going to get out last or the first one that gets in first. Where do you put them in the car so they can get out of the truck or whatever? I used to carpool. I had a big old car. Well, I carpooled most of my working life, tell you the truth, until, well, I just have to say most of my working life. Yes. When I was working in a factory back in the 70s at Timex, I had a neighbor who worked the same place I did. Well, everybody worked at Timex during those times, it seems. Well, if you're a woman, trying to support your kids. So you got a job where you could, and Timex was always hiring, so you could always get a job there. But getting there sometimes was a problem, and I was living in Rose City, and my neighbor next door worked, at Timex too. And she had an old beat-up car. I mean, we were all long-haired, weird people, trying to trace our families in the 70s. And, well, her car broke down, right? And the only vehicle we had, my husband had, because he had to go to work and he had to go fishing. And so I very seldom had a vehicle. So I started saving up some money. Now, at that time, pay wasn't that much. But I was saving in the what was it, the credit union there at Timex where I worked. I started to put in, I think it was $10 a week, which I should have used for groceries, I guess. But my plan was to buy a used car. Well, I did. I managed to collect almost $350, and I told one of the girls, and one of her boyfriends knew another guy who had an old beat up car, but it would run, and he would take that much money. Well, that was at the time when you didn't pay taxes on used cars in the state of Arkansas. Bill Clinton changed that, where you had to start when he became governor later. But he so $350 you could buy you a car, and took me a while to get insurance because it was just a guy selling me a car, and it took me a while to get licensed. You know how all that works. And so I decided I'm carpooling. I can't afford the gas, so I'm carpooling. So I told all the ladies that lived by me that I was going to carpool out of Rose City, and all I had to do was come to my house or if they were on my way, I would pick them up. Well, I finally got several girls, young ladies, like myself, in this old car. Well, thank goodness we only had to go across the river, the Arkansas River, to the other side in Little Rock, because we lived in North Little Rock, so we were very close to the river. And so, and so we carpooled, became very good friends. And one lady, she wanted to drive a carpool, and she decided she would pick us up, and she had a nice car. And I thought, well, that's great. She could drive. I could pay her $3 a week. And that way I wouldn't have to change the oil in my car, all the things, you have to do with a car. Uh, Even though I used my car, to go to the grocery store and things like that. But she had a really nice car. Her husband was a police officer in North Little Rock. Oh, I'm telling you, she had a beautiful home. Compared to us, we were renting sheds and shacks. That water leaked through the kitchen and the living room, through the light fixtures when it rained. It was sad where we lived, but it was a roof over our head. We thought we owned the world. I mean, we had a job, we had kids. But my mother-in-law had bought me a washer and dryer, so that I was like queen of the neighborhood because I had a washer and dryer. It's funny. That washer and dryer lasted me, I'm sure, 20 years. I don't know if it was a Maytag. I know that's what you're gonna find, but I don't remember what. But I do know it was Sears, and my mother-in-law bought it for me, and I'll never forget that. That was a gracious thing she did for me, my family. And anyway, so this girl who rode with us, and I can't remember her name, but we used to sing songs, rock and roll songs, going to work and coming to work, or listening to radio, to the radio station, and then I'd all go into work and go to our separate departments. It was just, our kids were growing up together. It was just like a little neighborhood, and you probably had the same thing. And it was just really quite comfortable, except with my husband. I'll tell you, to back up a little bit. When I bought that vehicle from that guy, my husband had no idea. First, he didn't know I had $350, which was a lot of money. And he was upset because he could have bought him a boat. He never changed. Every time we got a little money, he'd buy a boat. A different boat. Anyway, upgrade. So, boy, he was mad. Oh my gosh, he was mad. Oh. But that car, I mean, to me, it was like a prize antique car. I mean, it was maroon, and it was a Ford. I thought I'd never forget what kind of car that was. Fairlane, and it was one of the short ones, 57, I think, 1957. Fairlane, I think it was Fairlane. But I'd get out there and wash that car, like it was a jewel. I mean, I was so proud that I owned that car. He held that over my head. Oh my gosh. I don't know how long. I traded that car in for a Granada, an old used beat up Granada, and I bought it because it was just a nicer car. It was more of a road car, and my payments were like $49 a month, and the used car salesman, the guy who sold it to me was the one that sold me the maroon car, my first little car I bought on my own. And so he had got him a job at the used car sales place. But what he did, he was a mechanic, and that's how I bought it the first time. He was working out of his yard, and I bought that. But this time he worked at a car dealership in North Little Rock on Broadway, and I loved that car. Oh, and again, my husband was furious, furious. And I kept that car for a long, long time. I think in the 80s, I finally decided that I would buy me a new car. And my son was selling cars then. I mean, he was only, 19, 20, and he was selling cars, and he was making lots of money and selling lots of cars because he knew if somebody come in a car dealership, they wanted to buy a car, and he wanted to help them buy it. That's what made him a good salesman, his boss said. But anyway, I walked in. He was working at Bennett. I get Bennett Chevrolet or Bennett Ford. I can't remember. Anyway, and I bought a LTD. He called it a long-term debt, and that's what it was too. It was beautiful highway cruiser. Oh my gosh, huge spaces. The soft seats, all in maroon. It was awesome. I mean, bought it off the showroom floor. And my son had said, he said, "Mom, this is the car you need." And I went over there in my car, and yep, I traded that Granada in and bought me that LTD. Big red car. Well, by then I was working at the Methodist headquarters there in Little Rock, and of course I joined a carpool. So we all were riding in the car back home, and it was my week to drive, and we were getting on the freeway, and we always get on the freeway, and then we get off at the freeway, and then go through and drop everybody off, and come back home or whatever. And one of the girls had a little tiny Honda CRX or something, and there was 4 of us ladies in there, and that little car was no bigger than that aisle in there. That seemed like we were all in there. I mean, knees and all like this. And we'd go down being in the car, we could look out the side of our windows, and the tires on the trucks were bigger than the car that we were in. But we got used to it, And I said Laura had some kind of old-fashioned, we called it something, I can't, Lenny or something like that. It was a white station wagon. Oh, and it was old too. But it got us where we went. And then Janice had a real nice car. And so we had pretty good transportation. And we did that for, 12 years. We carpooled. One day, we're coming home from work, and I was driving the LTD, and everybody was all, in the car, all sitting back, just talking about our day and the kids or whatever, and this truck ahead of me on the freeway decided to hit the brakes, and I didn't realize why until I saw in front of me a cone, with those highway cones that the little ones that they used to set out. Now they have big ones, but the little ones that set out, they're orange. Well, he had a bunch of them in the back of his truck, and one of them fell out and then topped out when he hit a bump on the freeway, and then another one right in front of me. Well, he stopped. We were going 55, 60 miles an hour, and we were like bumper to bumper because the traffic was terrible, but we were moving 50 miles, 60 miles an hour because it was a smooth going, everybody just bumper to bumper. Well, when he put on his brakes, I put on my brakes. Well, we were too close for me not to hit him. So the slow traffic was over here. And I thought, where am I going to go? You can't go that way. It's, bzz, bzz, on the freeway on this side. And there was an opening between this car and that car. And there was the truck in ahead of me. And so I just hit the brakes and released the brakes. And I shot right through that hole, right? Halfway through that opening between the cars, one of the cars in the slow lane hit me in the back and then pushed me into the car in front of me. But the truck, the guy with the cones who had stopped, didn't get hit, not by me. If I had hit him, then the car behind me would have hit me and blah, blah. But instead, I went that way. Real quick. I mean, I don't know how I did that. I really don't, because I was close enough to read the license and every decal he had on the back of that truck. But by the time the police got there, that man had picked up his cones, I'm not lying, and took off. Now the freeway was packed with people, cars everywhere, trying to avoid us, But he drove right away. Cop never even saw him. State trooper never saw him. And we were all trying to say him. There was a truck and the cones fell out and all this, and the people that hit me didn't know what was going on at all. They just knew I come in their lane. And then when they hit me, it shot us out towards the field a little bit and hitting a couple of cars. We were okay. When we finally stopped, it seemed like Laura was down. She had been knocked underneath the dashboard because she was a passenger. And Cheryl was down behind the car seat underneath where you couldn't see her because she had gone under like that. And Janice was way down in the back. So when I turned around, I couldn't see them because they were down on the floorboard in front of their back seat, wedged in there. And Laura was wedged in here. And I thought, I've killed my friends. I've killed my friends. I was in shock for a long, long time. And the lady who hit me was pregnant. On top of that, it wasn't even her car. She was borrowing it. It was just a situation I'll never forget, but I can remember the last thing I said before it happened was, girls, brace. We're going to hit. And that's the last thing I said to them. And so when I was in days, checking on them, and it was just like a fog, You just couldn't believe it actually happened that quick. I mean, we were just blah, 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 and all of a sudden, whoop, 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 and we were out there just that fast. So we have to be very careful. Thank goodness I had a very, very nice, big, well-made tank. And it was a tank of other cars today. I mean, and I drove that car for, oh my gosh, up into the late 80s, 90s maybe. Yeah, I guess it was the 90s. But it was like, if I hadn't had that car, if we had been in that little car, none of us would have made it, in that little CRX. And of all the cars, mine was the tank, and it really did well. So every day is a miracle. I mean, it wasn't my time. I guess it wasn't their time, and thank goodness nobody got hurt. We were all bummed up, yes, and we all got letters from those lawyers that are ambulance chasers, and things like that. People wanting to sue us and all that. And at the same time, they were sending letters to the other people who were telling them that we were trying to sue them and we weren't. But we had talked to each other, people that we had collided with. and had to change numbers and stuff. So when we got the notices that we were being sued by them, I just called them. I said, I got a letter here, you're suing me. And the lady said, well, I got a letter that you're suing me. I said, who is it, Eubanks? And she said, yeah. And I said, yeah, he's an ambulance chaser. Well, that's what was back in the day. He was building this business, I guess. I'm sure he's still around. And I guess he is a good lawyer. He is a good lawyer, but yeah, you never know what every moment will take. You just never know. And as I sit here this morning, I've got a lot of things to do that I wanted to look at your comments real fast and see if I can find out what y'all are up to. Okay, let's see if we have any comments today. The weather's really unique, isn't it? I mean, it was 70 the other day. Well, it's 59. It might get 70 today. I really don't know. But we'll find out what it's all about. Let's see. Oh, Maribel. Good morning, Maribel. Maribel is hooked. Hi, Mima. I find it hard to watch certain movies, especially when it has to do with youth children. Same with reading certain stories. Hope you have an awesome morning. Well, thank you, Maribel. I hope you do too. Yes, I do not like to hear or read stories about children that are, they're at risk. And they're kidnapped from their front yards and just terrible, terrible things. And I will tell you, Maribel, that last night I was on YouTube. It was midnight, I know. And it's called the Trilogy Media, I think. And they were talking and trying to help this lady who had been scammed by somebody online. And what happened is I guess they were on Facebook, and he said, oh, you look nice, would you friend me on Facebook? Well, she did. And so their relationship started online. Well, 7 years later, they're still online talking to each other. And she's always saying, when you going to come see me over our 7 years? And he says, well, I'm in Iraq. And he sends her pictures of himself in uniform in different locations. In Iraq or Africa or Egypt or somewhere. But never coming home to USA. And it's because one thing or another, he didn't get on the next flight, he didn't have money, his mama was sick, his kids were this, he's stranded, he can't get his luggage because he can't pay for his luggage because he doesn't have any money, he's got a broken phone, and all these things for 7 years. And she had been sending him money. And she's on Social Security. Well, now she's 87 years old, still sending money to him. And she believes he's real because he keeps sending her pictures. Well, this is an investigative group. It's several different groups that have come together because they've all tried to work with her to convince her that he's not real. It's a scam. Well, she was even selling her blood to get money to send to him. And in one of the interviews, they were trying to convince her that this guy is not real. And she said, well, I've got all his pictures, and I just love him. I fell in love with him. I want him to come marry me. But he can't get back to the country. And they asked her how much money she had. And she says, well, I just sent him money. And she wouldn't say how much she sent him. And she says, well, I've got about $10 in the bank. It was so sad what these people this guy had done to her. And so they were trying to find, they were working on convincing her, so they were looking for the money trail. Where was the money going and all that kind of stuff. If you hadn't checked out that YouTube, you may have. You're much smarter than I am. But let me tell you, we need to be careful, because that woman's mind was convinced that he was real. And it went on, and it had other stories, of course. And then this is called Romance Scams, but it's Trilogy Media. But I'm telling you what, and on my Facebook, I get pictures of soldiers, young soldiers, good-looking soldiers, that talk to me. I don't ever talk back. But but they all say the same thing. Oh, I like the way you look. I don't want to intrude on your privacy. But if you like my picture and you would like to talk, then talk. I would like to talk to you if you'll befriend me on Facebook. I get it a lot. Mainly it's the same picture, but a different name. The guy. They even tried to convince her that the pictures she was receiving were just where they cut the picture out and put it into another picture. The face out. What do they call it? Photoshop. And she said, no, that's him. This is younger picture. This is older picture. And I kept saying, it's the same picture. And she said, yes, I know. It's him. It was really sad to watch. And I was thinking, for 7 years, she's believed this man loves her. Anyway, worth looking at if you want to. It's just the dark side of the world. It's not dark side of the world. It's just darkness in the world. There's so much darkness, and I don't like to know about this darkness. But in this case, this was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking that we as a society are alone, and they're mainly women like myself. Alone. And just, we talk to people and we think they're real, and there you go. I guess I'm just as guilty. Because, I believe you are who you are when you talk to me. And yes, I've fallen in love with each one of you. You're all very special to me. Even though I don't know all about you. But I have faith that you're a good person. But that was really heartbreaking for me to watch. And I did watch it to the end because I was hoping that she would realize, well, they finally did convince her to block him from now on. Just don't have anything to do with him. And she blocked him during that session, but she was back for 3 more years talking to him, giving him all her money. And let's see, I better move on to my comments. Okay, this is Teresa Davis. Hi, Teresa. How you doing, Hop Along? Not hopping? Oh, getting along, huh? Hey, Meemaw. You're wanting to move? You have a very cute apartment now. I know you will find all the information you need to get a new place. I love you and Connor. 2 hearts, 2 coffees, 2 yarns, and a foot. That foot's looking better all the time. Sometimes sideways foot, isn't it? I am just getting on a list do, because there's such a long waiting list for other places to live, with the market the way it is. And my sister's, she's not as old as me, but we never know. And she doesn't know whether she'll have to end up selling this place, or something happened to her. Let's hope not. And there's all kinds of possibilities. And so I've just been putting in just place some kind of backup, just for my own peace of mind. It's not an urgent thing that I have to do, because the waiting list, some of them are two years away. And so that's what I'm doing, and I'm looking for a place as I get older that was more conducive to me if I don't get better. Now, if I do get better, then I'll just go a different or I'll be ready for something else. It's just an insecurity I have of being homeless, because one of my friends that lived over there at the old folks' place, she's still homeless, and it's been a year and a half. She can't find a place. And she's been on the list now a year, and she's living out of her car downtown Little Rock. And anyway, and she didn't want to move in with anyone. She thinks she can do it with her and her dog. And who knows? Who knows how you do it? You need to have your chat on live chat. Oh, is that what I'm doing wrong? Oh, well, I may try another live chat then and see if I can get it where y'all can comment on it. Oh, I didn't know that. I couldn't figure out how to talk. I did it one time, but I couldn't remember how I did it. So that's what it was. I'm sure I'll just have to look at it. But I did notice yesterday that YouTube had a new option on some of the services, and one of them was that you can drop a link and someone can join you on the screen. And so once I learn live chat, then I'll see if I can drop something so we can both be on the screen at the same time, if you choose to be. Here's Joy Bird. No snow here in North Carolina, but we can feel the ice in the air. I have not heard the ice cracking in the trees yet. It is 5:21 p.m. and 41 degrees. Oh boy, homemade vegetable soup and cornbread. Yum, yum. Oh, no. My soup was good, too. Mine was good. In fact, I got some left. I'll probably have it today. And you're doing good. Okay? And here's Joy Bird. Yes, me, Mom, I did think this happened. I've seen dead people. I woke up a few months back and saw my daddy standing in the living room, who died in 1970. I have also had dreams that have happened later. The Bible says in Job chapter 15, in a dream, a vision of the night, when dead asleep fallen upon men, and slumbers upon the bed. Well, I believe it. I believe that things happen. I believe in miracles. They might not be the miracles that, miracles don't have to be good or bad. They're miracles, But when you see a loved one, it's just, your whole body just changes. The chemicals in your body changes from the visual. Maybe the sound. Whatever it is, it's just like smelling fried bacon and eggs. I can visualize my mother in the kitchen early in a wood stove cooking bacon and eggs, hot coffee from my daddy in a little kitchen. We all run in there where it was warm, the only warm room in the house. Yes, I do believe that things like this happen. Some of them are spooky for people, though, very spooky. And there are some apparitions, I'm sure, people see. But I know I felt, to this day, that I saw my grandma smile at me. Yeah, I did. And here's Daniel Fontaine. Hello from storm blinding snow Montreal. Ooh, that sounds horrible. I guess that I have been missing something, but do you want to move? Oh dear, stay in the loop. Oh no, I don't want to move. I don't want to move ever again. No. No, I want to stay here. But I have to take care of myself, you know. If my sister hadn't taken me, where would I have gone? You know, I don't want to be in that situation again. If something happens and I have to move. But that's one. But it must be awfully cold up there, blowing blinding snow. Guess it's winter, huh? Mm. Well, I will let y'all go. And I've been chattering and chattering. And I'm going to crochet for a while and watch a little YouTube and finish up my coffee. And hope that you're having a great day. I'm sorry the video was so long. But it is what it is. I'm glad you stopped by. Take care of yourselves. And remember, God has you in the palm of His hand. Yes, He does. And pray for Mother Earth, birds, the bees, the flowers, and the trees, and for each other because, why? You are special. And you are. Look at yourself. You're special. Yes, you are. Look at you. Oh, look at you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.